This is the International Soccer Preview, and we are Soccer Files Canada. Welcome to Series 17. We're looking at the squads of the 2023 Gold Cup. This is the full-length version for Haiti's players. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the International Soccer Preview by Soccer Files Canada. I'm Kevin and this is Series 17 on the players of the 2023 Gold Cup, and this episode covers Haiti's players. And just a couple of notes before we begin. This is a single media cast in two parts. So the first is an overview of the candidates for the squad and our guess as to the likelihood of making it. And the second part, probably the second third, or the last third, will be added on after the squad lists are released. So we're doing this first part in May. So our information kind of goes up until near the end of May. And the second one will be done in June when the squads are released. So this will let you know who among the candidates actually did make the team and also how accurate our predictions were. So we did those in two separate parts in previous media casts. We did CONCACAF players for the final round of qualification for the World Cup in late 2021. And we did the CONCACAF teams that made the World Cup in 2022. We did those in two separate podcasts, but we're combining them here. And in fact, we didn't do Haiti's players for either of those because they didn't reach either of those phases. So this will be our first run through Haiti. Okay, so we're organizing this position by position, and we do realize that actually those positions are, a bit of a construct, and they're not always accurate because players do kind of shift in their positions. So we're expecting a few surprises when the actual rosters come out, but we'll cover them as best as we can in the second part of the show. And we will kind of summarize, for example, which players are injured, who are the surprise players who didn't make it, and so on. And I should say for Haiti, a bit of an odd thing is happening. There are a lot of players who really should be on the squad that haven't played for the squad for the past little while. So some of the bigger names that I would expect to see for Haiti actually haven't been playing recently, and we've had to kind of label them as being off the squad. Having said that, there are a couple of those kind of names who were off the squad for a little while, but have come back recently. So I'm not sure what's going on with the Haiti squad. So many of their kind of top players not playing since the beginning of 2022. I hope they'll come back, but it's a bit odd that so many players haven't. But we'll go through the team and make clear which those players are. So let's begin. We'll jump right in. And we start with the manager. So the manager is still Jean-Jacques Pierre. So Jean-Jacques Pierre was the manager of their team for the 2021 Gold Cup, and he remains on. That's actually the first managing job he has had. He was a player for Haiti and, in fact, the captain, and he played from 2001 to 2015, but only 38 caps in that time, 38 caps and 1 goal. And he played in the 2002, 2007, and 2013 Gold Cups, as well as the 2015 Gold Cup. So very experienced as a player with the team, not so much as a manager, but Jean-Jacques Pierre leading them through the 2023 Gold Cup. Okay, let's begin with goalkeepers. And I'm going to start with one of those players I alluded to above, who is surprisingly off the team. Maybe this player not so much of a surprise as some of the others, but seemingly off the squad is Johnny Placide. So Johnny Placide has been their starting goalkeeper for quite a while, though, not in the 2021 Gold Cup. But I'll give you the bio information and then get into that. So Johnny Placide is 35 years old, and he's been with Haiti since 2011. And he has 61 caps and was captain of the team, captain of the Gold Cup 2019 squad. And before that too, and he plays for Bastia in France. Now, he was not called up for the 2021 Gold Cup, having been the starter in several tournaments before that. He was selected for the preliminary squad, but didn't make the final cup. But reportedly, it was his decision to focus on club play. He did come back after and played for the Gold Cup. Played for Haiti after, but last appeared for the national team in March 2022. So it's been more than a year. So again, these kind of players may come back, but they've been off the team for quite a while. But let's go now to the players who have been on the team. So a definite candidate is Josue Duverger. And Josue Duverger has been with the team since 2017, and he is 23 years old and born in Canada. But he plays for Santarém, a small club in Portugal, since 2022. That's actually a bit of a move down from a bigger club in Portugal, Vitória Setúbal, where he started his senior career. So he was part of the 2019 Gold Cup and 2021 Gold Cup, but was on the bench for both of those, a backup keeper. And he started 2 of their 7 games. Haiti has only played 7 games since the start of 2022. So he started 2 of the 7 games and was on the bench for 5 others. So we consider Josue Duverger a definite candidate. Also a definite candidate is Alexander Pierre. Well, Alexander Pierre has been with the team just since 2022 and has 3 caps. And he is 22 years old and plays for Strasbourg's B team in France. And he has not been involved in any tournaments. He was born in France, like several of the players are. Hasn't been in any tournaments. In fact, got his first cap in June 2022 and started 2 of their remaining 6 games. Subbed in for 1 and on the bench for the 3 others. So again, definite for us here doesn't mean that he necessarily be a starter. He probably won't, but we do think it's definite that he'll be called up to the team. And we have a likely candidate in Garrison Innocent. So Garrison Innocent, also very new to the team. So we're looking at very inexperienced goalkeepers behind Johnny Placide. So honestly, it would be good if Placide came back because, 6 caps is the most that any of these keepers have. Anyway, getting back to Garrison Innocent, he has 1 cap and he is 23 years old. And he earned his first cap in 2023. That was his first appearance. His first appearance was on the bench in March 2023, and he was subbed in for one of the 2 remaining games there. So brand new to the team, and that's the kind of the starting lineup there. We have a couple of players, other players who seem to be no longer on the team alongside Johnny Placide, and one is Alan Jerome. So Alan Jerome doesn't actually have any caps for the national team, but he was on the roster for the 2021 Gold Cup. One of the backup keepers, I think he was the 3rd string backup keeper, so does have a tournament under his belt. However, he also hasn't appeared since 2022, March 2022, in his case. So it's not really clear where he has gone. He does play in Haiti, his club soccer, but where he's gone in terms of the international team. And then another player seems to be off the team is Brian Sylvester. Brian Sylvester has 6 caps for the national team, all earned in 2021. And he's a bit older, 31 years old. And actually, he seems to have retired, because he was with Miami FC in the USA in 2020 and 21, but hasn't been with the team since then. He was born in the USA, and he was actually the starter in the 2021 Gold Cup, started and finished all 3 games. And last appeared for the team in September 2021, and I see that actually he is retired from soccer and is now a coach. So that's a bit young to retire, 31, but there we have it. So a real lack of experience if Johnny Placide doesn't come back among the goalkeepers. Okay, we move on to defenders and central defenders, and we begin with Ricardo Ade as a definite candidate, definite central defender, and he has been with the team since 2013, and he has 30 caps and 2 goals, and is 33 years old. So Ricardo Ade plays for Quito in Ecuador, and has played for a few clubs actually in Ecuador and in Chile. And he was a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup. He's I don't know if I said he's been with the team since 2013, 30 caps and 2 goals. I'm forgetting myself here. Anyway, he was a starter in the Gold Cup in 2021, and he started 5 of their 7 games since the start of 2022, and he wasn't selected for the 2 others. But especially given the lack of other candidates here, we consider Ricardo Ade a definite candidate. Now, all of the other potential candidates have not been seen since 2022, so we'll kind of go through them here. Francois Delis. Francois Delis has been or was with Haiti since 2021, and I'm just checking his age because he's not that old. He's just 22 years old. And he had 6 caps and no goals, and plays for Central Valley Fuego in the United States. He was born in the USA, and all of his teams have been in the USA. And he was part of the 2021 Gold Cup squad, even though he was just a substitute. And he got a red card in the only game he played. And he last appeared for the team in June 2022. So that means he did play some games after the Gold Cup, but has kind of gone AWOL like so many of the players over the last year. So we have to have him in the category of seemingly off the squad, like all of these players will be. The next one is James Jeffrard. So James Jeffrard, James Jeffrard is 28 years old. And sorry, I was wrong on Delis. He was 2 years older than I thought he was. So 24 years old, Francois Delis. James Jeffrard was with Haiti from 2017 to 21, so he went missing a little bit earlier. Still just 26 years old and playing in Canada. He was born in Canada for Mont-Royal Outremont in Canada. That's a team in Quebec. And he was part of the 2019 and 2021 Gold Cups, but just a sub in both. Actually, just a sub in 2019 and on the roster in 2021, but he actually didn't even appear on the bench there. And the last time he played was in July 2021. That might have been the Gold Cup or one game after the Gold Cup. But James Jeffrard, another of those who have gone missing over the last year. Andrew Jean-Baptiste is another. He has been with Haiti since 2015, and he has 16 caps and 2 goals. And He's 31 years old, and he plays for Valor in Canada. He's played in a lot of countries, actually, Sweden and Malaysia, but he's actually US born, and he's been on the team since 2015. So the Gold Cup in 2015 was his first tournament. And he was in the 2019 Gold Cup, but not in the 2021 Gold Cup. He was on the preliminary squad there, but didn't make the final cut. But like Johnny Placide, he did play after the 2021 Gold Cup, and his last appearance for the national team was in June 2022. So he also has not shown up for the last year, and we await to see whether any of these players will come back to the squad. I have four more to go here. Mishak Jerome. So Mishak Jerome is a real veteran with the squad. He's been on the team since 2008. And he is 33 years old with 78 caps and 4 goals. And he is with Indy 11 in the USA, playing for them right now. And he's been on Gold Cup squad since 2013. Up until 2019, but in that tournament he got an injury which kind of ended his tournament just 11 minutes into game one, and there was some confusion about his 2021 Gold Cup campaign because he was reportedly, I heard one report of conflict with the manager, and I heard another report of injury, which the team might say to hide the fact that it's conflict from the manager. But whatever it is, he was not on the Gold Cup 2021 team. However, he did appear for Haiti after that, and his last appearance was in March 2022. So another veteran who has gone kind of missing. A further one is Stephen Seance. So now these players I'm going to now are just are not kind of veterans that have gone missing, just players who seem to be off the squad. So Stephen Seance is 31 years old, and he is with Sedan in France. He plays with Sedan in France, and he was his first cap with Haiti was in 2021. So he only has 3 caps and 1 goal, a real latecomer to the team there. But he also last appeared in June 2022. Garvin Metusala also got his first cap recently in 2022. Just 1 cap for him. He's younger. Just 24 years old, and plays for Forge FC in Canada, but last appeared in March 2022. And finally, John Lee Vandermeer. John Lee Vandermeer is younger still, at 21 years old, and he has 3 caps. His first cap was in 2021. He plays in the Netherlands, and he was actually born in the Dominican Republic, but I think he grew up in the Netherlands because all of his clubs are there. And he last appeared in March 2022. So stunningly, we only have one active central defender. Now they have been managing, but if they have been managing. It's no wonder they've played just 7 games. They have been managing because they played games, but I'm guessing they must be using out of position players for the central defense, because all but one of them have gone missing since around the summer of 2022 or earlier. Anyway, I shouldn't harp on that too much. That's probably the position where they're suffering the most. For a lack of players. But left backs, they're actually in okay shape because they have definite candidate Alex Christian. So Alex Christian has been with the team since 2015. And Okay. He has 44 caps and one goal. He's 30 years old. And he also is a bit of a globetrotter playing in Georgia since 2023 with a team called Talavi. I'd never heard of them before. But he's also been with a couple of teams in Kazakhstan and in Armenia. I have heard of Ararat Yerevan. I think it's one of the bigger clubs in Armenia. But yeah, really a well-traveled player. And his first tournament was the Copa America 2016, Copa America Centenario, where he was on the roster but saw no action. And he's actually had trouble as a starter, at least as far as tournaments go, because he was also a substitute in the 2019 and 2021 Gold Cups. Having said that, he subbed into the first game of each and then gained a starting position in both of those tournaments. Worked his way into a starting position. And he has started all 7 of their games since the start of 2022. So a definite candidate there in Alex Christian. And by the way, he's sometimes referred to as Alex Jr. Okay, we also have a possible candidate in Martin Experience, the English pronunciation, but probably Experience in French. And he has been with the team since 2021, so fairly new to them, to Haiti, and 24 years old, with just 5 caps. 5 caps and 0 goals. He plays for Cholet, a small club in France. And he was on the squad for the 2021 Gold Cup. He started games 1 and 2 there and was on the bench for game 3. By the way, Haiti was ravaged with COVID during the 2021 Gold Cup. I think there was one game where they had like 1 goalie and 3 substitutes available to them, something like that. So maybe some of the players that were used are not regular starters. Well, I know that to be the case, but anyway, started games 1 and 2, and then in game 3, actually, they did get a few players back, so maybe he was kind of standing in there. Anyway, he was off the team after the Gold Cup, and he returned after a 20-month absence in March 2023. Didn't start any of their remaining games, but he was subbed in for one and on the bench for one. So kind of coming in at the end here is Martin Experience. A possible candidate we have him as. And finally, we have a player who seems to be off the squad in Ashkanov Apollon. So Ashkanov Apollon has been with Haiti since 2021 and has 7 caps. And he is 32 years old, and he plays for Hartford Athletic in the USA. And he's never been involved in a tournament, and last appeared for the national team in 2021. So I'm almost curious where he got 7 caps in there, but they were all in 2021. Okay, that's what we have for left backs, and so we'll move on to right backs, where they have even more candidates, so 2 definite candidates. The first one is Carlens Arcas. Carlens Arcas has been with Haiti since 2016 and is 26 years old with 31 caps and 1 goal. And he plays for Vitesse in the Netherlands since 2022 and has mostly been with teams in France throughout his career, although he was born in Haiti. And he was a starter in the 2019 and 2021 Gold Cups. There, and since then he started 4 of their last 7 games and was on the bench for 2 of them, so just 1 game that he was not called up for. So right back Carlin Arcas, a definite candidate in our opinion. Another definite candidate is Jeppe Simonsen. Jeppe Simonsen was born in Denmark and actually played in Denmark before he moved to a team in Poland in 2022. And he was selected for the preliminary squad in 2021, but did not make the final cut. But since then, he's been a regular, starting 5 of their 7 games since the start of 2022, subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 1. So a consistent participant. He also got a goal in their qualifying. So we consider Jap Simonson a definite candidate. Now, 2 definite candidates as right back, both of whom have been playing a lot, suggest that one of those players is standing in as a central defender. That would be my guess. Okay, and we have Jimmy Alexis as a possible candidate. So Jimmy Alexis has been with the team since 2018, and he's 25 years old with just 8 caps and 1 goal. And he plays for Hapoel Petah Tikva in Israel. He's been playing in Israel since 2021 and was in Armenia before that. And he was kind of a substitute in the 2019 Gold Cup, but he didn't appear in the 2021 Gold Cup. He was on the preliminary squad. That was a huge preliminary squad. So pretty much everyone who knew about the Haiti team was named to the preliminary squad, the 60-man preliminary squad. So not an achievement to be on it, but at least it shows he was around and being thought of. In fact, he returned after a more than 3-year absence in March 2023 and started the last 2 of their remaining games there. So coming in right at the end there, Jimmy Alexis, and we consider him a possible candidate, perhaps higher, given the lack of defenders that they have. And also at right back, they do have one player who seems to have kind of gone missing, and that is Stefan Lambizi. Stefan Lambizi. So Stefan Lambizi was with the team from 2014 to 21, and he is 27 years old. So it's not age that's causing these players to stop playing. He has 17 caps and 1 goal, and he's unattached right now, but was playing for French teams up until 2022. He was born in France, and he was a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup there. However, he last appeared for the national team in that tournament, so has gone kind of missing since then. So there we have it, right back. So not bad in the right back position. They have a few candidates, but obviously going to need some of those players to play in central defense, unless some of those many players who have gone missing come back. Okay, let's move on to midfielders. And actually for Haiti, we have a couple of kind of roving midfielders. And the first one is Brian Alcius, and we consider him a definite candidate. So Brian Alcius has been on the team since 2016 and is 27 years old with 33 caps, and he plays in Romania, and he's also a bit of a traveler, having played in Cyprus and Azerbaijan. Born in France, he was a starter in the 2019 Gold Cup and in the 2021 Gold Cup too, but after game 1 he contracted COVID, or got a positive COVID test at least, which ended his tournament. Again, COVID, a big problem for them in the 2021 Gold Cup. Since then, he has started 5 of their 7 games since the beginning of 2022 and was not selected for 2. But we consider him a definite candidate for the team because, as you'll see, the 2 upcoming players, 2 of their biggest names, are among those who have kind of gone AWOL. And the first of those is Steven Saba. Even though he plays in Haiti, he has not shown for the national team in about a year. So we have to put him on the seems to be off the squad categorization. So Steven Saba has been with the team since 2018. So not as much a veteran as the next one, but nominally a defensive midfielder, but I've seen him kind of all over the midfield. So I changed him to a versatile midfielder, and he is 30 years old. And as I mentioned, plays in Haiti. He went back to Haiti in 2020. He was playing in Canada for a little while. And he also played for the USA under 18 team. So I think he qualifies for them. Anyway, he threw his hat in with Haiti for the and for the 2019 Gold Cup, he was a starter. On the 2022 for the 2021 Gold Cup. My mouth is not behaving for me right now. For the 2021 Gold Cup, he was on the roster but saw no action, and in fact wasn't even on the bench for any of the 3 games because it was due to COVID. I'm not sure whether that means he contracted it or got a positive result shortly before the tournament, but one of the players affected by COVID there. And he did play after that Gold Cup. His last appearance was in June 2022, and he's been missing since then. So seems to be off the squad, Steven Saba. The last versatile midfielder, or actually I just have him as a versatile player because he really plays all over the field, roughly equally in offense and defense. And I'm talking about Wild Donald Gourier. Wild Donald Gourier with Haiti since 2010. So as I said, more of a veteran than Steven Saba. And he is 34 years old and has 58 caps and 11 goals. And another globetrotter, he's currently with Zira in Azerbaijan, and he has been in Cyprus and Poland. Sorry, I had to stop and cough there. Anyway, a well-traveled player, let's leave it at that. And his first tournament was the 2013 Gold Cup, and he's been part of tournament since then. However, I was sad to see he wasn't there for the 2021 Gold Cup. And I got a couple of reports as to why he wasn't. One report that he didn't come was because he hadn't been paid money owed to him. And then I also read a different report which said that he was injured with muscular problems. However, like so many of these, he did appear afterwards, which I was happy about. Last appeared for the national team in March 2022, but then has gone missing ever since there. So I'm really hoping to see him at the Cup, but and I'm hoping some of these players will come back. But right now he hasn't played for the team for more than a year. So all 3 of those are kind of versatile players, mostly midfield. And we move on to actually players coded as defensive midfielders. So we begin with Carl Sainty or Carl Saint, who we consider a definite candidate. And he is 20 years old, so very young. His first cap was in 2022, and he has 7 caps now. So if you've been following the math here, he started 2 of their 6 games. 2 of their 6 games following his first cap, and subbed in for 4 of those and was on the bench for 1 other. I don't know what I was talking about with the math there, but again, they have played 7 games since 2022, and I guess the math isn't working out there because he should have 6 caps. Anyway, suffice to say, he's been playing regularly, has Carl Sainte, and he's with New Mexico United in the USA, and we consider him a definite candidate. And another defensive midfielder who we consider a likely candidate is Leverton Pierre. So Leverton Pierre has been with the team since 2021. And he has 13 caps and 1 goal, and he's 25 years old, and he plays for Dunkirk in France, and has played all of his senior career in France, although he was with a youth club in Haiti. And he was a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup. That was his first tournament. and started all 3 games there. And since then has started 4 of their 7 games since the start of 2022, as well as being subbed in for 1 and on the bench for 1. So just 1 game that he was not selected for. I'm almost tempted to move him up to the definite. Hey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move him up to the definite category because he also was a starter in the Gold Cup there. Okay, let's move on to central midfielders. That's all we have, just those 2 defensive midfielders. And for central midfielders, we have Danley Jean-Jacques, and we consider Danley Jean-Jacques a likely candidate. He's also very new to the team since 2023, and that's his age too, 23, and he has 2 caps and no goals, and he plays for Metz in France. So he got his first cap in March 2023 and started one of the 2 remaining games and was on the bench for the other. But that recent participation, together with the lack of players who have gone missing, makes us feel like he's a likely candidate. Now here too, we have many candidates who are among those who have gone missing. So we begin with Biku Bisenti, who seems to be off the squad. Actually, he's not one of the more experienced of these players. I'm kind of going in alphabetical order here. Biku Bisenti was with the team since 2019 and has 7 caps, and he plays for Haiphong in Vietnam. So some of these Haiti players playing for pretty interesting teams around the world. He was a sub in the 2019 Gold Cup and the 2021 Gold Cup also. So his experience is belied by the fact that he has just 7 caps, because he's been in and around the team for quite a while. However, he last appeared for the national team in September 2021. So shortly after the Gold Cup was his last cap for the team. Okay, and the next one is Dotherson Clairvaux. Dotherson Clairvaux was with the team since 2019 and was part of both Gold Cups, just like Bisenti was. But I'll give you his bio information first. Clairvaux is 24 years old and has just 4 caps for the national team, and he plays in Haiti. And as I said, he was on the squad for the 2019 and 2021 Gold Cup. In fact, in the 21 Gold Cup, he subbed into game 1 and then gained the starting position for the following 2 games. So obviously one of the ones who was not affected by COVID, but that was his last appearance for the team. So not exactly a veteran, but a young player, 24 years old, who has not shown up for the team for quite a while. The next one is Zachary Heriveau. And he's a bit more experienced, having been with Haiti since 2017 and with 19 caps. So he's 27 years old and plays for Tampa Bay Rowdies in the USA since 2023. So you'll probably have noticed by now that these players are not missing from their clubs. They're still playing for their clubs, some of them even in Haiti, but just not showing up for the national team. For whatever reason. So Zachary Heriveau was born in Japan, and he was eligible to represent Japan or the USA, but he committed to Haiti and was part of the 2019 Gold Cup, where he was a starter. He lost his starting position there, and in the 2021 Gold Cup, he was on the roster but saw no action. It doesn't look like he was affected by COVID, so one of the few healthy players who didn't see action there, and that was the last time he appeared for the national team in the 2021 Gold Cup. So Clairvaux and Heriveau, both of them last appearing in the Gold Cup. And I probably should have started with the more veteran players, because we do have a couple here. Kevin Lafrance. Kevin Lafrance has been with Haiti since 2010, so his going absent is even more of a surprise. And he's sometimes listed as a centre back, but I have him as a defensive midfielder. And he recently joined Malfetta in Italy in 2023. Well, scratch that because he's no longer with them. He's actually unattached, but also a bit of a globetrotter playing for teams in Italy, Cyprus, and Poland and Czech Republic. So Kevin Lafrance has 45 caps and 5 goals, and he was part of the 2021 Gold Cup. Actually, it was a bit shocking that he wasn't part of the 2019 Gold Cup because he was a fairly big player for them, especially at that time. And the rumours were he withdrew because the Haitian FA was not living up to its promises. But he came back for the 2021 Gold Cup, Kevin Lafrance, and started and finished game 1, but then got a positive COVID test and was out for the rest of the tournament. And that actually is the last appearance for Kevin Lafrance. So 33 years old, maybe hanging up his boots for the national team. But in my opinion, another one of those. And who knows, maybe that's why some of them are missing. Maybe it's a protest against the Haitian FA not living up to its promises. I haven't actually read anything along those lines, but I have a few individual reports like Kevin Lafrance in 2019, with players being upset with the administration. Okay, and we'll move on to our last central midfielder who seems to be off the squad, and it's another fairly big name in Sony Mustavar. So Sony Mustavar was with the team since 2013, and he's 33 years old. And he has 25 caps and 2 goals. And he also plays in France, and a couple of other countries, another bit of a globetrotter. He's actually, his only tournament for Haiti is the 2016 Copa America Centenario, and actually he was just on the bench for that tournament. For the 2019 Gold Cup, he was injured, and for the 2021 Gold Cup, he was on the preliminary squad, but not the final squad. So he's a very familiar name to me. But actually, it seems like in terms of tournament participation, he hasn't actually made a lot of the tournaments. But he did appear after the 2021 Gold Cup and last appeared for the national team in September 2021. So he is the fifth of our central midfielders who seem to be off the squad, even though their age doesn't really suggest a reason. Like they're not retiring or anything like that, so it must be some other reason. Anyway, let's move on with left midfielders, and it's feast and famine here because they have one central midfielder, but they have 2 definite candidates for left midfielder, so probably one of those will play out of position. The first one is Derek Etienne, and he has been with Haiti since 2016. And he's 26 years old with 40 caps and 8 goals. And he recently moved to Atlanta United in the USA, having played with Columbus Crew before that. All of his teams have been in the USA. And he was part of the 2019 Gold Cup and a starter in the 2021 Gold Cup too. And he started 6 of their last 7 games and was subbed in for 1 other. So we consider Derek Etienne a definite candidate. The other definite candidate is Danny Jean. Danny Jean is, he's new to the team. Got his first cap in 2022 and is just 20 years old, and he has 6 caps and 1 goal, and he's currently with Strasbourg B in France, so Strasbourg's B team there, and He was with youth clubs in Haiti. And he got his first cap in March 2022 and started one of their remaining 6 games, but subbed in for 5 of those and was on the bench for the other. So he's always been called up since the start of 2022. So Danny Jean, we consider him a definite candidate. And that's all we have for left midfielders is 2 definite candidates. And for right midfielder, we only have 1 candidate, but it is a candidate at the likely level, and it's Fredler Christoph. Fredler Christoph. So he is also young, 21 years old, and he plays for Strasbourg B in France, also just like Danny Jean, and he has a similar number of caps, 7 caps and 1 goal. For him, he was actually considered for the 2019 Gold Cup, but didn't make the final cut there, and hasn't started actually any of their last 7 games, but he was subbed into 5 of them and on the bench for 2 others. So he seems a good bet to make the final team, although he doesn't seem like a starter. That's right midfielder Fredler Christoph. Okay, and we're thinning out even further because we have no left wingers to speak of here, and we have 1 right winger who is at the seems to be off the squad level, and that's Cristiano Francois. So Cristiano Francois is 29 years old, but only has 7 caps since his first one in 2019, and he plays for Rio Grande Valley Toros in the USA since 2023, and has mostly been in the USA in his career. And he hasn't been called up to a tournament. It's actually a pretty interesting case there. He was selected for the preliminary squad in 2013, way back in 2013. But didn't make the final cut there and basically disappeared from the team. He, even by 2019, hadn't earned his first cap, but he was considered once again and didn't make the final cut. And he got his first cap shortly after in September 2019 and was once again considered for the final squad for the 2021 Gold Cup, but didn't make the final cut there. And last appeared on the bench for Haiti in June 2022. So just a bit of an interesting story there, but really not a candidate for this cup, it seems. Okay, I'm just going to take a sip of water here. And wow, the thinness of the squad continues because we only have 1 attacking midfielder here, and it's another player who seems to be off the squad. So that's Brian Chevruel. And Brian Chevruel has been with Haiti since 2017. He's 24 years old with 6 caps and 1 goal. And he plays for Borgo in France and was with Bourges before that. I wonder if those 2 teams are connected with each other. Anyway, Brian Chevruel was selected for the preliminary squad for the 2019 World Cup, but didn't make the Gold Cup, but didn't make the final squad, and same in 2021. But he has been in and around the team ever since 2017. But he last appeared for the national team in June 2022. So he doesn't look like he's going to be in this cup unless, he or some of the other players who have gone missing come back. He is young, 24 years old, so certainly not aged out or anything. Now, we do have more candidates as a forward. We have only 1 definite forward. We don't have any secondary strikers, so we're moving on to forwards. And we have Carnegie Antoine as the definite candidate here. So he is 29 years old, and he's been with the team just since 2021. actually, so a bit of a latecomer to the squad, and he's been great for them. He has scored 11 goals in his 15 caps, so very prolific for Haiti recently, and he's with Hapoel Haifa in Israel, and he's been with teams in France and Portugal and Belgium as well. And he was born in France, and his first tournament was the 2021 Gold Cup, and he was a starter in that tournament, and he was a real terror actually, especially against Martinique. Okay, and he also scored 6 of their 22 goals in qualifying, and he started all 7 of their games since 2022, since the beginning of 2022. So a definite candidate for them. Now, one interesting thing here, and I kind of hinted at this earlier, we have Dawkins Nazon. So Dawkins Nazon is one of the players, is a player who, like so many of the others, kind of stopped playing in 2022, but he came back in March 2023. So I wonder if some of those other players will come back, kind of following his lead, as it were. Dawkins Nazon is a big player for Haiti, and he's 27 years old, and he's been with the team since 2014, and he has 51 caps and 27 goals. So that is over 50% scoring ratio, scores in more than half of his games. That is amazing. And he plays for CSKA Sofia in Bulgaria, and he has played in all over the world, really. He was with Wolverhampton in England, and a couple of other English clubs he was loaned to. He also played in India, so a pretty interesting guy. And he's been with the team since the 2015 Gold Cup. And in the 2021 Gold Cup, he was a starter for game 1, and then he too got a positive COVID test, which ended his tournament. Now, since then, he did play after the Gold Cup, but was then off the team for a while and came back in March 2023 and started one of their 2 remaining games and was on the bench for the other one. So I have him as a likely candidate. Here, but of course they would be desperate to have him on the field. So I kind of mean likely here, as in, are these guys gonna play for the national team, or whatever it was that kept him off the team? Will that perhaps rear its head again, and then he won't play? Anyway, it is good to have Dawkins Nazon back for the last 2 games there. And we have a similar situation with forward Franzi Piero. So then 2 players kind of coming back from that absence for Haiti. So Franzi Piero, also very important to them. Wow, they sure have scorers. They're a very exciting team offensively. Franzi Piero has been with Haiti since 2018, and he's 26 years old. And get this, he has 25 caps and 17 goals. So that is incredible. And he plays for Maccabi Haifa in Israel, and was in France before that. Another player who's kind of been here, there, and everywhere. And he was a starter in the 2019 Gold Cup, but in the 2021 Gold Cup, he was on the roster, but must have gotten a positive test shortly before the tournament. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put him on the roster. But he didn't appear even on the bench due to COVID. So whether that was contracting it or getting a positive test, he was not able to play. But he did return after that. I'm just trying to calculate. He was off the team for 20 months, which is about a year and a half. So I think he did play. I'm pretty sure he did play after the Gold Cup, but then another who left the team. But he too returned to the team in March 2023, and he played both of their remaining 2 games, Franzi Piero. So again, we have him as a likely candidate, just because we're not sure what is keeping what led to their absence from the team and whether that will be a factor. Okay, we have another likely candidate, so they're very rich at the forward level at least, in Mondi Prunier. So Mondi Prunier is new to the squad. He's 21 years old and he's been with the team since 2022. And he also has a good scoring record, even though it's kind of a smaller sphere. It's 4 goals in 4 caps for Mondi Prunier. And he plays for Versailles in France. And he got his first cap in June 2022 and then started 3 of their remaining 5 games. Up until the end of May here, and he was subbed in for just one game that he wasn't selected for. So he is a likely candidate to make the squad. And then we have a few. One of the ones I'm saddest about, actually, seemingly off the squad, is Ronaldo Damus. Ronaldo Damus, I really enjoyed him in the 2021 Gold Cup. He kind of reminded me a bit of the oh my God, his name is eluding me. The Crystal Palace player in England. Maybe it'll hit me, but I'll just forge on without remembering that. But kind of a sad-looking player in a way. His expression makes me want to cry for him. Anyway, I don't know why I say that. Ronaldo Damus is 21 years old and was with the team from 2016 to 2021. That means he started when he was 17 years old. But he only earned 7 caps in that time and is currently with Sundsvall in Sweden, although he was loaned to San Diego Loyal in the USA in 2023 and otherwise has played mostly for U.S. teams. He did play for a Haitian team for a while. Anyway, he was selected for the 2019 Gold Cup, but didn't make the final cut, so preliminary squad there. And then he was a sub in the 2021 Gold Cup. Kind of got his chance through the the players getting COVID. I'm not sure he would have been a starter, but he subbed into games 1 and 2, and then went on to start and finish game 3. And he was excellent against Martinique, and it was just heartbreaking. He would have a good breakaway, and then he would miss the chance, and he would gnash his teeth and pound the ground quite sadly. And he actually drew 2 red cards for players who took him down because he was such a menace running forward that defenders really couldn't handle him. So I quite enjoyed him. I'm going on about it too much. Anyway, he last appeared for the team in the 2021 Gold Cup. So young though he is, 21 years old, kind of off the team. And I certainly hope he comes back. Okay, I better get on with it. We have Lucius Don Deedson as another player who seems to be off the squad. He has been with the team since 2021 and is 22 years old and has 4 caps. So he was actually selected for the 2021 Gold Cup, but he was replaced by Biku Bisenthi, who we met earlier, and last appeared for the national team in July 2021. So kind of off the squad for the time being. Again, we'll maybe give a few more details if he actually makes the squad. Another player seemingly off the squad is Roberto Luima. So Roberto Luima plays in Haiti and was with Haiti since 2016, or from 2016 to 21, earning only 4 caps in that time. And he was on the roster for the Gold Cup. but on the bench only for the first game. So I wonder if he also had a COVID test that was positive. So Roberto Luima, 24 years old, but last appeared in the 2021 Gold Cup. And finally, we have Shanidir Borgelin. So Shanidir Borgelin has been with Haiti since 2021. So new player, just 19 years old, and with 3 caps and 1 goal. And he plays for Inter Miami in the USA. And actually was born in the USA. Now, he was selected to the preliminary squad for the Gold Cup in 2021, even though he had never appeared for the team, even as a substitute prior to that. But he didn't make the final cut, but he did play after the Gold Cup, and he last appeared for the national team in March 2022. So there we have it. That's all of our candidates, and a bit of confusion and yeah, as we saw, a lot of players who are in their prime or even quite young just disappeared from the team within the last couple of years. So we'll have to wait until June to see if any of these players reappear or how Haiti is going to manage. I must say they've done well qualifying for this cup and managing in the 7 games they've played since 2022. They've done quite well with basically this squad. So let's see. But anyway, it'll be very interesting for the second part of this podcast when we see the final roster to see how it comes out for Haiti. Well, we will see you then. Bye-bye. It's June, and welcome back to part 2 of the Haitian Players Media Cast. And well, welcome in the first place if you're just joining us for the short version or the second half of the media cast. So I'll just quickly summarize what we did in the first half for those who are joining. And that is we compiled a list of candidates for Haiti based mostly on recent performance, but also a little bit of their history with the team. And we gave biographical information on these players and their history in Gold Cups and a little bit about their club. And then we categorized them as to how likely they were to reach the cup. So we had definite, likely, possible but unlikely, and seems to be off the squad. And now we go through that list again, and we will tell you who made the preliminary squad and who made the final squad. In fact, for Haiti, there's a division in between there because they put out a 36-man preliminary squad and then reduced it to 28. So we know the names of those 28, and finally reduced it to 23. So on we go. And I said in the first half of the podcast that several of the big names had kind of mysteriously disappeared in the springtime for Haiti. And I looked into that and couldn't find any information on it. Some of those players are actually doing well at the club level, but there was no word on why they're not playing for Haiti since around April or June 2022. So actually 1 or 2 of the kind of smaller names did come back. We'll point those out as we go along. But in general, some of the bigger names that we've enjoyed over the last couple of World Cups didn't make the squad. So here we go, and let's look at the list. And so the manager, a bit of a change with the manager. I guess we kind of made a mistake. Well, not really, because he was still listed as the manager when we checked. But in early April, in early May, Jean-Jacques Pierre, his contract was not renewed as manager. And now the person listed as the manager is Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino. And he is the one listed as the manager to take them through this cup. So I did a bit of research on him and actually couldn't find much. He is Spanish, and he was a technical advisor to Haiti, said the article that I read, and all it said was numerous technical experiences in Spain with Real Betis, Malaga, Leganes, and Getafe, and in the United Arab Emirates, and professionally, kind of administratively, I take this to mean with FIFA, La Liga, and Real Madrid University. So that's all we have to go on for Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino, but he is the manager taking them through the cup. Jean-Jacques Pierre out of the picture, it seems. Okay, well, let us go to goalkeepers. And Johnny Placide was one of those players who disappeared from the team, last playing for them in March 2022, but doesn't really fit the category I'm talking about because he wasn't really playing for the team for the 2021 Gold Cup. He reportedly decided to focus on club play, and so Johnny Placide not here for this cup either. However, he did make that cut from 36 to 28, and we'll put him in the seems to be off the squad category, but that dark blue represents that he made the first cut. Otherwise, green represents they made the final squad if you're looking at the graphic on YouTube, and light blue represents them making the 36-man preliminary squad. Okay, let's look at goalkeepers. We had two definite candidates. One was Josue Duverger, and he did make the final squad. And the other was Alexander Pierre, and he also made the final squad. We had a likely candidate in Garrison Innocent, and he also made the squad. So the three goalkeepers who seemed the most likely were indeed on the squad. As we mentioned, Johnny Placide making the 28-man squad, but not the final squad. And the other two players we mentioned, Alan Jerome and Brian Sylvester, we had as seemingly off the squad, and that seems to be the case as they were selected for the preliminary squad. All right, moving on to defenders, we had central defender Ricardo Ade as a definite candidate, and he did make the final squad. And all the other players we had, and there was quite a list of them, seemed to be off the squad. So that's incredible. Just one player coded as a central defender making the squad. Correct that, actually, a couple of these guys did make the squad, but it seems very thin in central defense. So seemingly off the squad was Francois Dulis, one of those players who last appeared in June 2022 and then disappeared, but he kind of reappears here by being selected not only for the preliminary squad, but making the first cut down to 28, but didn't make the final cut. Francois Dulis. I'll mention the ones that actually did make the squad on our list. So one of them is Stephen Seance, and the other one is Garvin Metusala. Both of those we had as seemingly off the squad. Stephen Seance, the last game was in June 2022, and Garvin Metusala last game was in March of 2022, so they hadn't played the team for a year. But come to think of it, you know, they only had 2 games in March 2023, so it's not as desperate as all that. So I guess really what we're saying here is that these players didn't appear for the March 2023 games. Okay, well, the other candidates there who are seemingly off the squad, James Jeffard. James Jeffard did not even make the preliminary squad. Andrew Jean-Baptiste did make the preliminary squad, but did not make the final squad. And Michak Jerome, a veteran of 78 caps, did not make even the preliminary squad there and has disappeared. Johnsley Vandermeer, the last candidate there, also didn't make the preliminary squad. So, okay, they have 3 central defenders, so they may have to use some of the left or right backs that we're going to talk about to fill in. So moving on to left backs, we had a definite candidate in Alex Christiansen, and he did make the final squad. And a possible candidate in Martin Espérions, and he turned out to be possible. He was named to the preliminary squad, but not the final squad there. Martin Espérions. And we had finally a player who seemed to be off the squad, Ashkanov Apollon, and he was not named to the preliminary squad, so does seem to be out of the picture. Moving over to right backs, these are some of the ones that may fill in as central defenders, because there are 3 candidates here, and Carlins Arcus and Jep Simonson. Both of them we had as definite candidates, and both of them made the squad, as did the possible candidate, Jimmy Alexis, also going to be at the 2023 Gold Cup. We had Stephen Lambisi seemingly off the squad, and more evidence that he is in that he wasn't selected even for the preliminary squad. All right, that brings us to midfielders, and we had a definite candidate in Brian Alceus, and Brian Alceus is selected for the squad. We had a couple who are seemingly off the squad, and I am glad to see them back. Stephen Saba. It's not really a surprise that they're back. It's more of a surprise that they hadn't played in the March 2023 games. And the other one, Wild Donald Gurrier, both of them selected for the final squad. So they are coming back into the picture. That is good. Defensive midfielders. So all 3 of those we coded as versatile midfielders, because they tend to move around the midfield. And now we look at defensive midfielders, and we had 2 definite candidates here in Carl Sainte and Leviton Pierre. And both of those made the final squad. But we had a player, I don't think actually we listed him in the initial thing, but Sony Mustavar was seemingly off the squad and was not selected for the preliminary squad. Okay, central midfielders. We had just a likely candidate, no definite candidate, and it was Danley Jean-Jacques, and Danley Jean-Jacques has made the squad. And then we had many candidates who were seemingly off the squad, and among those 5 candidates, only one of them made the preliminary squad. That was Biku Bisenti. On the preliminary squad, but didn't make the final cut. And then the other 4 not even named to the preliminary squad, and they were Dotherson Clairvaux, Zachary Heriveau, Kevin Lafrance, and I put Sony Mustavar here too, but he's the same, not named to the preliminary squad. Okay, over to left midfielders, and we had 2 definite candidates. One was Derek Etienne, and he did make the final squad. And then in one of the few surprises here, we had Danny Jean as a definite candidate, but in fact, he was only named to the preliminary squad there, and that's all for him. Okay, over on the right midfield, I didn't know how to finish my thought there, so I just bluffed my way through it. Okay, over to the right midfielder, a bit of a surprise here too. We had Fredla Christoph as a likely candidate, but he only made the 36-man preliminary squad and will not be at the finals. For left wingers, we had none. And for right wingers, we had only one, who was seemingly off the squad, Cristiano Francois, and he does seem to be off the squad as he was not selected even for the preliminary squad. However, we do have our only new candidate here, the only one we hadn't listed, and that is Fafa Picault. Fafa Picault was born in the USA, and he played a couple of games for the USA in 2016 to 18, 2 caps for them. He's 23 years old, perhaps 22 years old, and he was with Houston Dynamo in the United States. I'm afraid I didn't update his information there, but yes, he was a consideration for the USA up to 2019 Gold Cup, and now it looks like he has thrown his lot in with Haiti, and so he was selected to the final squad, Fafa Picault. Okay, and on to the forward line. We look at attacking midfielders first, but they only had one, and that was Brian Chevroux. And he was at the seemingly off the squad level, and true enough, he didn't make the preliminary squad. So with no attacking midfielders and no players coded as secondary strikers, we are down to the list of forwards, but there are a lot of players in this position. So we had a definite candidate in Carnegie Antoine, and he did make the final squad. And we had 3 likely candidates in Nason Duckins, and we did go over in the first part of the podcast why we placed players at the level we did. So Duckins Nason is a good example to talk about here. Of course, he would be a definite candidate in terms of his record and his ability. 27 caps, 27 goals in 51 caps. But he was absent from the team for 20 months before March 2023. So we just had a little bit of doubt as to whether he would be there. So that's an example of what we talked about in part 1. Anyway, Duckins Nason did make the squad, and I'm happy about that. As did the other 2 likely candidates, Franzi Piero and Mondi Prunier. Both of them making the final squad, and that's a very exciting attacking line for Haiti. Sadly, Ronaldo Damus did not make the squad, and that is sad because he did really well with San Diego Loyal in the USA, and I don't know whether he had this nickname before, but he got the nickname Haitian Sensation. And I did enjoy him in the 2021 Gold Cup, and I'm sad he's not here. However, he hadn't played for Haiti since the 2021 Gold Cup. I even did some research on him specifically and couldn't find a reason for that. So Ronaldo Damus not making the squad or even the preliminary squad. And actually the only one of the 4 that did was Lucius Don Dietzen. He made the preliminary squad. But the other 3, Ronaldo Damus, Roberto Luima, and Shanider Borgelin, none of those even making the preliminary squad. And I'm sorry, we do have one other new candidate. I was neglect there. And that is Jairo John is his name, and he is a left winger. So I'll jump back to left wing here, and which is good because they didn't have any other candidates as left winger. So I'll give a little information since he wasn't in the first part of the podcast. Jairo John has no caps for Haiti and is 25 years old and plays for Real Santa Cruz in Bolivia. And he played for Always Ready, one of the great soccer team names, Always Ready in Bolivia. before that. But he was born in Haiti, and I think he played in the Dominican Republic before that. Okay, and then we actually had 4 names added to the squad, but we'll get to those in the summary section that will begin now, actually. So let us take a look at notable non-selections. Notable non-selections. Well, maybe this was partly our mistake because it did happen in early May before we did the first podcast, but Jean-Jacques Pierre, no longer the manager of Haiti, so we'll consider him a notable non-selection, as it were. And Johnny Placide, we said, made it to the 28-man preliminary squad. But, given that he was named to that squad, because I've talked to a few Haitians and he seems to be the favorite, one of the favorite Haitian players. So I'm sure they're anxious for him to come back. And if they saw him on the preliminary squad and also making the cut to 28, they would have been excited, as I was, that he was going to play in this tournament. But he is not and hasn't played since March 2022. Martin Experience, I thought we said he made the preliminary squad. That's not really a surprise. I'll move on. Danny Jean is a surprise because we had him as a definite candidate, and he only made the preliminary squad. And finally, Fred Le Christophe, we had as a likely candidate, and he only made the preliminary squad. So not too many surprises in terms of who was left out. The biggest surprises are for Haiti, some of the names that haven't shown up since spring 2022, which we covered in the first part of the media cast. Okay, well, surprise inclusions. I guess if we say Jean-Jacques Pierre being a notable absence, we'd have to say the new manager, Gabriel Calderon Pellegrino, as a bit of a surprise. But again, that happened in early May. Stephen Seance, the central defender, we considered him seemingly off the team, having last appeared in June 2022. And the same is true for central defender Garvin Metusala. And in fact, that's true of all of the candidates who are kind of surprise inclusions there. We had them as seemingly off the squad because they hadn't shown up for a year or more, and they did come back. So that's good for Haiti. Stephen Saba is one of those, and Wild Donald Gourier is the other. So those 4 names, a bit of a surprise. And we look at a couple of new candidates. So we mentioned right winger Fafa Picault, and we mentioned left winger Jairo John. Both of those new. They were not on our radar. Actually, Fafa Picault was on our USA radar and then suddenly popped up here for Haiti. Okay, and then a couple of names that, and really they're just names that were not on our radar, not in the soccer files, but now they will be. Duke Lacroix and Shander Borgelin. Both of those made the cut from 36 to 28, but then didn't make the final cut. And then a couple of new names on the preliminary squad. Piero France, which is odd. He's going to be mixed up with this forward called Franci Piero. Very similar names, but they are different players. And the last one is Fernando Ciceron, brand new to the squad. Neither of them have any caps or have even stepped on the field for Haiti. All right, and then the last thing we do is an update on injury, but you'll see that it's beautifully blank for Haiti. So hopefully that really does mean they don't have any injuries, because Haiti tends to be a bit of an unlucky team. Or it could mean that the information is not good and none were reported. I hope it's the former, but no injury reports for Haiti. All right, that brings us to the end of part 2 and the end of the Player Podcast for Haiti. So I hope this increases your enjoyment, a deeper understanding of the players, makes you enjoy the tournament more, and let's finish with that hope. All the best. Bye-bye.